We're here. We're live. Kind of not really doing this. I have taken a very, I guess you could say, like an interesting interest. It's terrible to use the same word twice, right? But this is
That's
what it
fine.
is, right? We're very genuine right now because my man, he's got his setup. I got my setup, and what brought us together again was Dot Hack. So let me first introduce my amazing host and guest right now, Maguma. Maguma, what's going on, bro? I got you with the sound
Hello,
effects.
hello.
Okay.
Ooh, we got sound effects. We got sound effects. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. All right.
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Just trying to keep on being productive, thriving. Rising and thriving. That's the attitude.
Exactly. Yeah. We have to do our best with, the times and just giving everything,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. So like I mentioned, Dot Hack, right? CC2, CyberConnect 2, they're having their 30th anniversary, right? They had like a little announcement recently. And a lot of people, for those that don't know, like the little quick story is that a lot of fans were expecting another Naruto game or another Jujutsu Kaisen game. And being that, and this is me personally speaking right now, there's a lot of like 3D arena fighters, right? As it
Oh,
is. And it's funny because I even saw some people online saying like, "Man, like I don't know what they're gonna do," but it's like, "Sure, I'll take another Storm game." I'm like, "Okay."
yeah. Right. They sat in the trenches for years making those games to keep that company afloat, and they were doing it right, and I respect them
Yeah,
wholeheartedly for it.
yeah,
But boy, howdy, do they hide their flagship brand. They rep that in every other possible aspect beyond video games, and they keep Dot Hack alive.
yeah, yeah, and then
That's what we talk.
and then it comes out that it's not either. It's Dot Hack. It's a franchise that for me, I have always been aware of Dot Hack, but I didn't know anything. I've had friends, that have spoken about it, saying good things like, "Oh, like, this is like I remember this from my childhood, blah blah blah." And actually, speaking of my childhood,
Sorry.
oh, you're good. No,
Jeez, my bad.
I I remember having a friend back in the day who I actually remember seeing his PS2 copies of like some of the Dot Hack games, which I'm sure we'll get into. So yeah,
Mm.
so here we are now, right? 2026, and Dot Hack is making its official return with a brand new game. We don't know too much about it just yet. Have a little bit of details, but I figured I would take this opportunity, a learning opportunity, to have a Dot Hack expert, right, on the video here to, I guess, walk us through like Dot Hack in its entirety, and I guess as much as you wanna talk about, or, because
Absolutely.
Maguma was so nice, literally was like, "Bro, I could talk your ear off if you want." I was like, "Alright. Let's do it."
It's up there. I feel like every time it's like there's always that time where someone's like, "Yo, what's like your number one thing?" And there's always all those like popular things that are out there. It's like, "Oh, I love Pokemon, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat." Is like, yeah, yeah. Dot Hack. Dot Hack is the above fandom of all things when it comes to this household. That's something I got into when I was very young, and I fell in love starting with like the anime, and then when I got into high school, I met a guy who also liked Dot Hack, and he was a huge fan, and he let me borrow the original PS2 games, and
Nice.
that's how I got super hooked. And then I turned into that anime fan who's like, I have consumed all the media that is out. Where is the internet? I must know what's next. I must every
Mhm.
Famitsu article, every Tokyo Game Show trailer. If there's a whiff of content, I'm gonna find it.
Fire.
Um, and so I got in big deep. So
Yeah, yeah, and in that right there, that is like I feel like one of the most magical things that any franchise could have is when you grab a fan by the balls essentially, right? And you're just like there's no other way to other put it, right? Like you just it is what it
yeah,
is, and like you get them so hard to where they need more, and that's awesome. Like I love hearing that. And it's like I don't feel like, oh man, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, blah blah blah, because obviously I didn't. But
Yeah,
what matters the most is like, okay, now it's like take advantage of the fact that more people are interested and want to know more, and you know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly. Now you get a chance to explore it.
Yeah, and so the one thing I remember, like, talking to you about before we started doing this, I was like, "So wait a minute. So this you're saying that Dot Hack basically walked so that Sword Art Online could run." And you were like,
Yeah,
"I mean."
I'll be so real. I'll be so 100. I'm not a Sword Art Online guy at all.
That's fair, that's fair. You're not hurting
There's
my feelings, you're not.
yeah, there's a lot of people who love it, and I get it.
Yeah.
And I think that like there's a lot of people who are Dot Hack fans who have varying levels of
Mm.
contempt for that comparison. In the
Uh-huh.
same way that I think any fan of a media goes, "Oh, I love this thing," and then someone comes out later down the line and goes, "Oh, it's like this," and it's like, brother, this was first. This came first.
Yeah,
Um,
that's inevitable,
it's
unfortunately.
it is,
Yeah.
and that's media. That's just media,
Yeah,
right? Is that
exactly,
no
yeah.
no ideas are truly original. But boy howdy, Dot Hack does franchise in such a way. Like you want to, if you use the word franchise, right, and you're talking about, hey man, here's this thing, here's this IP, here's this product. How do we deliver it to people in as many ways possible? Dot Hack is at the top of that leaderboard in some capacity. It may not be number one. There's definitely some IPs out there that take that claim, but Dot Hack is in the pantheon easily with no questions. That one walks up to the door. They're like, "Oh, come right on in, Mister Dot Hack. You're welcome." Um, and it's a franchise that's anime, manga, video games, movies, light novels, web comics, mobile games.
Wow, yeah.
It covers the gamut. And I think like the thing that makes it so interesting is that so much of that content is canon. It's all timeline. It's all part of a single road. And there's branching paths. There's little extra things that you can go to. I said it a little earlier, right? Like you've got the meat and potatoes of the franchise that anyone can sink their teeth into. And then if any part of those catch your eye, where you're like, oh, what about that? There was something they mentioned this. That sounded really cool. I want to learn more about that. There's supplemental media that you can go and enjoy
Fire, I
in a
like
different
that.
form. And I think that that's kind of like that's my favorite way to consume media sometimes is that you're given opportunities to expand where
Mhm.
like media can be consumed where you want to, and then they just go, hey, if you're having fun or if this thing catches your eye or this moment interested you, we've got something that you can go explore further.
That's how it should be, I think. That's actually really
And dot
cool.
hack dot hack does it. I would say another great example of that kind of logic, right, is like JoJo parts. JoJo
Mm.
parts are a great series where like each story is very self-contained, but if you read all of them, you get that extra layer to the story at large, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like dot hack does very similar methodology where you have the main stuff, you can do those things. So I guess this is a perfect time we can just kind of start talking
Yeah.
about the line and where you can get in.
Yeah, take it away.
um,
This is all you.
Absolutely. Well, so for most people, I think the easiest place to start in the Dot Hack franchise is the anime. Nice and easy. You just watch something and you enjoy it. So you've got Dot Hack Sign. And Dot Hack Sign is this really good show where the premise is you have this video game called The World, which is an online MMORPG invented by CC Corp, very appropriately named.
Hmm.
And it's an MMO. The in this point in time, when the game was released, it took place in the future. Like, if memory serves, I had to do my math. I know Dot Hack GU takes place in 2015, and like these games came out in like the like 2005, 2006,
Yeah, like
2007.
early mid, yeah.
So that near distant future where you see stuff and you're like, yeah, that's believable. I could see headsets for
Yeah.
like basically predating like the Oculus, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's where Dot Hack kind of sat. And so you've got like your special little headset you put on, and you've got your joystick controllers, you got your little Wiimotes, um, and you're playing an MMO. And this one person hops into the game, and their character is named Sukasa. That's their avatar character, and they're in this game, and they're just trying to kind of be like, yeah, I just something to do. I kind of want to experience the thing. Everybody plays it, and one day they end up in a zone in the game where this anomaly interacts them and attacks them, and they get hit. And normally in dot hack, the way things work, right, is you go out into a field, you do your quests, and if you get knocked out, you get sent to a hub called a root town. So it's like the base hub where all the players interact and do your shopping and get all your stuff. And they're like, okay, well, I'm back. I'm gonna do my thing. And then they try to log out, and they can't. And they're trying to log out of the game, and they can't get out. And what has happened is that their consciousness has been separated from their body, and their real world body falls into a coma,
Mm-hmm.
and they're now trapped in the video game, and they don't know what to do. And they're just basically just this teenager trying to figure out what's going on. And they meet other players in the game who are aware of this, because obviously rumors start spreading on message boards and all that thing. And then there are admins in the game and moderators who are finding out about this. And obviously admins and moderators, their jobs are like, hey, we got to take care of the game, we got to take care of anomalies. So you have all these different people who are trying to understand and uncover the truth about what's happening to Sukasa. And there's this far deeper thing going on inside the world that people don't know is going on.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really interesting story that is this cool isekai that is like, hey, how do you like mix isekai and slice of life just a little bit, and you have this mystery going on, and you have all these people with their own intentions, where people are living these interesting like dualities of themselves, because obviously
Yeah.
there are people in the real world with their day jobs or school, but then you go into the world and people are completely different. Their ambitions, their goals, their ideals, they change completely by just being in this place, and how important that is. So dot hack sign is the starting line, and that's a really great story. It's a good anime that you can watch. You can get the DVDs. You can probably find it on a streaming service and watch it that way, and that's a great place to start. And then for the gamers, we've got the dot hack game series. So the very first start of that is dot hack infection, dot hack mutation, dot hack outbreak, and dot hack quarantine. And it's a 4-part game series that took place on the PS2.
Now these,
And
so
that
really quick, I just want to jump in really
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, so
Oh,
those games, right? They
yeah,
I was when I was digging myself, because as you know, because I was
yeah.
like, yo, I'm in the rabbit hole right now.
Got to do some
So
homework. Yeah,
yeah, so the PS2 games, I feel like they came out like very like soon, close within each other. Like you had
yeah.
the first one, and the next one came out like like the next year, right?
About, yeah, they were pretty close to each other in development. So like as soon as one was done, the second one was like not far behind. So you had this volumed system where like, because I think also when you see like video game sequels, it's like a game comes out, it lives, it has its moment,
Right,
and
right.
then maybe it's like, okay, it's time for the follow up. Dot hack is like, no, we have a story to tell, and it's gonna be in parts, and we're gonna keep running this through line through 4 video games worth of content.
See, I think that's really sick. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, obviously, like
Yeah,
times are way different now. Like, there's a
yeah,
lot more time that goes into game development and just like all the
yeah,
planning and everything that's encompassed when it comes to releasing a game and building a game nowadays. It's like way more complex. Not to say like what it wasn't back then, but like back then,
yeah,
you had regular releases for like with fighting games, right? But then like even with games like this, like dot hack, like Dot Hack started as an anime. 2 months later, the first game comes out. So it's like,
yeah.
what? So okay, sorry, yeah, go ahead. Keep going, keep going.
No worries. So you've got the dot hack games, right?
Hmm.
And the dot hack games tell their own unique story, where it's about a young guy who is joining the world for the first time because he has a friend of his who plays and is a really, really good player, like super well known, super successful. And mostly will go by player names. So you have Kite, who is the main protagonist, and his friend. is playing a character named Orca, who is a part of this legendary duo known as the Azure Knights, and are the descendants of Fianna is their official title, and there's Orca of the Azure Sea and Balmung of the Azure Sky, and basically these are two dudes who took on a special event quest where a monster with the most health of all time appeared and had access to like the whole kit, and it's
Damn.
just super mega boss, super hard, and these two dudes soloed it together and beat it.
Wow.
So
That's
they're
fire.
legendary players as far as the community is concerned. So Orca is like, hey man, you should join me. Come play the game. It's super fun. So Kite signs up, builds his avatar, joins the game, and they start playing. And then they're in a dungeon, and a monster shows up that is kind of weird. And they're like, what's up with this monster? And it attacks Orca in a very like strange way. And similar effects start to happen that happen in like Dot Hack Sign, and all of a sudden Orca's character gets attacked, and he's not like recovering, and he's not responsive, and he falls into a coma. And Kite is like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And then he encounters this mysterious figure who basically implants data into his character model and unlocks this weird bracelet, as it's called. And he is given this unauthorized item that a bunch of system admins are starting to freak out about. And Dot Hack becomes the Dot Hack games become the story about someone who's like, hey, I need to solve and figure out what's happened to my friend. And there's again this much deeper thing happening in the depths of this world that we don't understand.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we don't do something about it, who knows what's going on. And then Kite starts meeting all of these other people who have either been affected in some way, who understand some of the stuff. He's meeting people who are like, oh yeah, I know about the rumors, I know about the lore, I know about some of the stuff going on, maybe I can talk to you about it. And it's this amalgamation of people who are slowly enrapturing themselves in this conspiracy to uncover the truth about the world.
Right. Wow. Yeah. So I'm hoping that for those that are listening to all this right now, are like you're kind of like you're peeking your ear closer to the to your speaker or something, because like so I will admit right now,
Yeah.
I did start a little something. Okay. I watched the first 5 episodes of Sign last night.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
because
All right.
I wanted something, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I
You're
did
doing the
want.
test. You're
Yeah,
doing the test.
yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I wanted to come, with a little something, so that I have some sort of experience to bring to the conversation. Because I already knew, like, you were gonna be driving, like, this combo, like, the majority of the way anyway, and I'm okay. I'm totally okay
For
with that,
sure.
obviously. Like, I signed up for this.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to help others learn through what you're saying. But yes, I guess you could consider it a little extra credit, because I was like, I wanted to wait until after our conversation would start, and I was like, I kind of want to get into this right now. So yeah,
I feel you. I'm like that. I'm
yeah,
like that sometimes.
yeah. I only did the first 5 though. I only did the first 5 just so I could
That's
get a
fine.
little taste of it, and I did watch it in English. I didn't. I
Yeah.
don't know how people felt about, like, because coming from Dragon Ball, it's very tribalistic. It's like it's either you're
Yeah.
English or
Yeah.
Japanese. I don't care.
I feel Yeah, I feel for Dot Hack as a franchise, like, doesn't matter.
Okay, that's good.
I think I get that tribalism, right? That lot like there's a lot of people who are like, you gotta do it through the subs, you gotta do it through the dubs. I grew up on it on dub. I watched it on Toonami, I watched it on Cartoon Network. So that's how I was introduced to it. And then as I got far deeper into the fandom, there were definitely pieces of the media like there's a dedicated episode. There's two. I'm sure there are going to be people who will have opinions about this, at least for one of them. There are two episodes in Dot Hack Sign that come at the end
Mm,
called Intermezzo and Unison. And they're kind of like, they're part of Dot Hack Sign, but they're a little standalone ish OVA. Sometimes that's how they're treated and viewed. And basically, Intermezzo is a story that focuses on a dedicated character from the Dot Hack games and like their contemporaries. And then Unison is kind of this like all right, the events of the first season of Dot Hack are kind of done. All the characters are together to enjoy this moment. Um, and like I remember watching those, and I think I experienced at least Unison. I think I experienced in Japanese, so I got to kind of have a little taste of both worlds. But I don't think anything gets taken away from either of them because
Okay.
Dot Hack as an anime was in the 2000s, and I think that during that time we really hit that stride with like the limited casting of voice actors that existed, where all your favorites, all the OGs, all the goats are all in the same stuff all the time, so their palettes are refined, their talents are really locked in,
Hmm.
and you have really like prolific voices covering that stuff. So I think we had great dubs for Dot Hack back
Yeah.
in the day still. So yeah, you can watch it whenever.
All right, well, that's good to know, guys. Listen, in this household, we don't judge. If you watch it in English, go ahead, because I know a lot of fans grew up watching stuff on Toonami, myself included, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. If you want to enjoy in the original Japanese, then go right ahead. No one's gonna hate you for it. I mean, especially and then for anyone that is international anywhere else in the world, and there's another sub that you would, if it's available, you want to watch, just go ahead. The whole point is dot hack is what we're here for to enjoy together, right? So,
Yeah.
all right, so we have the anime, then we have the
Yeah.
first 4 parts, and then what comes after that?
Okay. So we're gonna get a little technical, and then we'll get to that next chapter.
Okay.
Um, I want to give a little shout out real fast. Where was because you reshared it earlier. This the dot hack list
Oh yeah.
on
Oh,
Twitter.
I got it.
So I
I,
want to
I
give a
got it
shout
pulled
out
up
to
right
that.
here. Yep. I'll have it
Yeah,
linked in the description.
Fallions. Big shout out to Fallions there for putting together not only this list. I looked it over and like there are a couple things on there where I'm like I haven't seen these things, or like I know they exist but I haven't consumed them yet. But it's cool to see everything, and then has their
Yeah.
own video to check out to just be like, hey,
Yep.
here's the quick summation. So that was really helpful to just kind of be up to date. But it did remind me that I wanted to talk about two things that are super important in dot hack. Um, and the first thing is that so you've got the anime, you've got dot hack sign, and then you've got what is referred to as IMOQ, the first 4 games:
Mm,
infection, mutation, outbreak, quarantine.
gotcha.
When you bought those games, they came with bonus DVDs of a series called Dot Hack Liminality.
Okay.
The first 3 games came with Dot Hack Liminality, and they're basically OVAs. And what's going on is that they take place concurrent with the game itself, but they
Okay.
take place in the real world. So it's a mystery of kind of like what's going on, who done it. Not necessarily who done it, but like, hey, there's something going on. We want to kind of solve this crisis that's happening, this weird incident with the world, and people going into comas from the game, and you're experiencing what's happening in the real world. And there is a Famitsu article that came out for Dot Hack Z.e.r.o, which is what's bringing us all back to Dot Hack, where the president of CyberConnect, Hiroshi Matsuyama, mentions that like back in the day, discussing the real world and the impacts that's of what's happening in the world, the video game, was hard to show. So the way that they did it to let you know what's happening in the real world was you have a forum in the video game that you can access. So you can read message board posts where people talk about stuff that's going on. You get to see like news articles. So like there's literally parts of the game where you boot it up and you go to a message board and you're watching like discussions about politics. You're watching
Wow.
aerospace, you're watching science, you're learning about cultural events. And like they tried with the limitations of the PS2 and that time era to be like, how do we make you, the person, feel like you're playing a video game within a video game? And like creating the real world and understanding that you're a person in the real world who's logging into a video game. So the web browser, the forums, emails, all this stuff that gives you that sense. And liminality is another way that they do that. So they have this anime where you're exploring the real world. And then after those 4 games, after Dot Hack Sign, there's a little time gap. And then Dot Hack GU gets announced. and this is like the sequel game, and this is the formula changes, graphics are sharper, it's a lot more intense. It becomes a little more shonen, and now we're further along in the PS2's lifetime, or the PS2's lifetime, so we can see this like scale of quality. And like GU for me is my favorite part of the
Let's
franchise.
go. All right.
Um, I love Dot Hack GU with my whole chest. Um, easily my favorite part of the franchise, hands down. Um, when they announced Dot Hack GU Last Recode, which is basically a remaster of the GU franchise or the GU trilogy, I was ecstatic. I was so excited, and then me and my wife are actually gonna go play through it together.
Let's go. We
So
love that. That's
I'm
dingable.
super stoked. I'm super stoked to get back into that game again. So Dot Hack GU comes along, and that game introduces a new protagonist by the name of Haseo, and his story is so different. He's such a different person. So he comes in and he's this guy who's like, I want to experience this video game, and he ends up meeting these players for the first time, and he joins a guild, and then he befriends this girl named Shino, who then gets attacked by a mysterious entity that obliterates her, and like Orca, puts her in a coma, and she disappears from the world, and Haseo crashes out, and he's like, I will find that man, and I will get my revenge. And he goes on a binge and levels up like crazy and becomes what is known as the Black Death, the PKK Haseo, the player killer killer.
What? That's a
Um,
sick name. I'm not even gonna
yes,
lie.
he levels up like crazy. He gets super strong. He gets so powerful, and he's like, I'm gonna find that guy. And then he finds him, and he finally finds the dude that takes out Shino, and he tries to fight him, and he gets dog walked, and he gets his ass beat. And then the mysterious figure, who looks like Kite, by the way, this is a very important detail.
Okay.
So like he's chasing down this guy, he finds him, and it's this version of Kite that is like torn up and sewn back together and almost looks like undead. So like you've played 4 games where you're this hero, you're this guy, and now you're in a new game with a new dude to pilot, and you run into the previous protagonist, but he's this horrible, dilapidated, torn apart and put back together version of himself, and he's silent. He says nothing. And he dog walks your ass,
Damn.
and he beats you up, and then he hits you with the signature move from the Dot Hack franchise, the Data Drain. And Haseo gets attacked, and his character gets reset to level 1.
Wow. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, and that's the introduction of Dot Hack GU. And you're playing this guy who's like, I have to figure out who that dude is, what happened, and I gotta get back to where I was. And it's this really interesting story about a dude who's, kind of went down this dark path, and now he's like, okay, I reached the top that I could. I got knocked off the mountain. Now I have to climb back out of the depths. And he meets a bunch of new people. The squad comes together. There's all these other people with their own interests, obviously, who kind of align themselves with him. And this deeper truth gets uncovered yet again inside the world. And then Dot Hack GU, like the original 4 games, also came with its own supplemental media. So in America or in Japan, everybody I believe everybody got it no matter what when they bought Dot Hack GU Volume 1.
Hmm.
But in America, there was a special collector's bundle that came with like a figure and this bonus item called the Terminal Disc.
Mm.
And the terminal disc is basically this really cool supplemental CD that you unlock bits of information that bridge the gaps from the first 4 games and GU, and it fills that time frame between them on the timeline.
Oh, okay. So that's a connecting bridge, like you said. Okay.
It's really cool. I thought it was really neat because at the time, obviously, I'm playing all the games, I'm doing all the homework, I'm on the BBS, I'm on real BBS boards with my friends talking about dot hack theory and figuring out all this stuff. And then the terminal disk comes out, and you're just like, oh, it's time for answers, brother. Here we go. All right, let's see who's right, who's wrong. Let's get all the stuff. And it's super cool. So you're learning all the stuff that's happening between the games. Um, you're learning about all the real world events that are taking place. And as you play the various games, the terminal disk itself unlocks data and files. So you play volume one, you get a bunch of stuff. You play volume two, you get more content. And then you play
What?
volume three, and it unlocks further.
That's actually wait. So you're saying that the more you play through the 3 volumes, you
Yeah,
literally unlock actual data to then
exactly. So
watch.
you're learning more.
That's
Yeah.
a
So
next
you've
level
got
immersion, bro. I did not know that.
so you've got documents to read, you got videos to watch, and they do the same thing of like, hey, we can tell you stuff that's been going on back in the past. We can catch you up. Like part of the terminal disk, if memory serves, is also like a little bit of a refresher. So it sometimes covers the events from the previous game. It talks about things that were a part of the previous game and how they correlate to the current phrase or the current phase of things. And they just kind of start revealing little bits and notes. And then as you're playing, you hopefully kind of pick up some of the details here and there, but then you open up the terminal disk, and it's like, okay, we're just gonna finish connecting these wires for you. We're gonna finish bridging some of these gaps, and we're gonna answer some questions, and we're gonna make you ask more.
And this wasn't an actual disc, like a physical.
A physical disk. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I have it. Give me a second. Let me see if I have
Wow. Okay,
it. Do
now
I
see,
have
this is
it?
that's actually really cool. That's something I was not expecting um to even think about, but I think things like that is partially what's missing with video games nowadays. It's like you get a game, you pretty much play it or whatever, and then like depending on the type of game, you might continue to buy into like the things that they're offering, but like something like that is so cool. I feel that kind of reminds me of, and this is like, and it's very unrelated, but it reminded me of it, is like kind of how
Yeah.
like and before anyone gets too excited, I never beat this game either, but the first Metal Gear Solid, okay?
Mm,
When you are playing it and there's a part where dude tells you look on the back of the case for and I'm like,
yeah.
"Are you serious?" Like, and you actually have to do that. And then there's certain parts where I heard like you got to plug into port 2 and like do all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's
All the PS2 shenanigans or the PlayStation shenanigans. Yeah.
yeah, that
That's
see
crazy. That's the best stuff, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so this is the terminal disk. There it is. Still have it.
Wow.
Super mad random. Um, for years, I had a copy of Codename Kids Next Door for the PlayStation 2, and I didn't know where it went. It was in here this whole time. Don't know
Wow.
why.
Yo, we look at that. Finding things you're not even looking for.
Don't even know. Literally for a decade, I've been looking for this game, and I'm like, I know I have it. I don't know where it went. I don't know why it's in here. I'm a terrible person for putting two discs in one
We've
sleeve.
all done
I'm a
it.
crazy person for it, but now I know where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
But
Something else for you to
anyways, so
enjoy.
yeah, so this is the disc that came with uh the collector's edition of Dot Hack Volume 1. And
Wow.
then in Dot Hack GU Last Recode, so if you download the remaster, if you buy the remaster and you get that game, it's built into the game.
Fire.
So
Okay,
it's
that's good.
automatically there, and you can enjoy that game and unlock all the cool stuff that it has to offer, and watch it from there.
And
So
these are the Dot Hack GU volumes 1, 2, and 3.
yeah,
Right.
so the
Yeah.
original 3 volumes, you would get the first game, you get the terminal disc with it, and then you boot it up, and every as you progress through the game. So if you have data from the first four Dot Hack games, it unlocks information on the terminal disc. As you play through volumes 1 through 3, it unlocks more data on the terminal disc.
See, that's so
So
cool. Like that
yeah,
actually probably a better comparison would be like whenever you had Pokemon save files and
Yeah,
then
right.
you booted into the next one, and for whatever reason, they were like,
Transfer stuff up.
yeah, like this because you had previous data here, where you now have a
Yeah.
mystery egg or something like that.
Yeah, that era of gaming was so cool because it
Yeah.
rewarded you. It rewarded you for playing and being involved, and I think that was such a cool thing to do. And we kind of still get it sometimes in a lot of franchises where it's like, "Hey man, you have data from an old game. Here's some extra items. Here's some stuff." But
Right.
this was, "Are you playing the franchise? We got deets for you."
Yeah, that's
Um,
fire.
so Dot Hack GU, fantastic game. I'll sing its praises till I'm blue in the face. Um, that game also comes with its own contemporary anime that goes alongside it, and
Okay.
that anime is Dot Hack Roots.
Roots, okay.
So Dot Hack Roots sits in the timeline in a very interesting manner. Um, I was watching Fallion's video, and he brings up Dot Hack Roots, and he mentions that like you should watch Dot Hack Roots up through a certain point
Mhm.
and then stop and play the game. I actually have the inverse opinion of that. So you
Oh,
can do
okay.
it two ways. You can do two ways. You can either A, play Dot Hack GU Volume 1. You don't have to play all of it before touching Roots, but you can play all of Volume 1 of GU and experience it as it is, and then watch Dot Hack Roots. Or you can do something. I would consider this not like difficult, but like a little bit of like a Nuzlocke style tax you can put on
Oh,
yourself.
okay, okay.
You can play Dot Hack and you can start the game, and then you finish all the tutorials, you do all the stuff, and there's a point in the game, in the very first volume. It's right in the introduction where you're joining the game, you're learning the ropes as Hiseo, a first time person in the game, and you join this guild, and then it does a time skip, and it's just like such and such months later. That little time gap is the majority of Dot Hack Roots.
There it is. I kinda like that. That's, like, very
Yeah.
intentional, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember the exact. I can't remember the exact time frame of how many months go by in that moment, but like that's basically it. So you go
Okay.
in and the game starts up. You do your tutorial stuff. Um, the story kicks off, and then it does this like a few months later. Haseo is the terror of death. He's the PKK. He's level 133. He's this monster, and Dot Hack Roots basically covers the majority of the events that lead Haseo down that path to become that guy.
Okay. So, because I'm looking at the list right now too. So, the inverse, you're saying you play a little bit of Rebirth, and then once you see, like, that time skip, that's where you could have a little pause break, and then check out the first 7 episodes from Roots, essentially, if you're going off of this list too.
Yeah, in theory,
Yeah.
it's a little tight only because it's all cuts. Like for the game, it's all cutscene. So like
Mhm.
you're doing the tutorial that you have control over. As soon as the cutscenes kick in, it's okay. Events are taking place. Haseo joins this guild. Um, this time skip then happens. More cutscene takes place. Haseo encounters, the assailant who attacked his friend,
Yeah.
and then you're given control of the game again. So it is a little wonky to be like, okay, how do I stop in the middle of this cutscene? But like
Yeah, it's true.
in theory, you could be like, all right, I'm gonna boot up GU and start it, and then I can hit that threshold and then not dive further into the game and like watch the anime and enjoy it. And you can still keep playing, or you can just play the game all the way through, stop, watch the anime, and go back. And personally, I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I
Mhm.
love being, like I said earlier, right? Hey, man, we're going to give you some information. We're going to show you some stuff. But by the way, if you were curious about this thing, are you curious about those like 8 months that Haseo would like we did that little skip? Go
Mhm.
watch Dot Hack Roots.
Yeah.
That's what that energy is.
Yeah.
That's what Dot Hack likes to do a lot. Is they'll be like, some stuff went down. We're going to talk about it, but we're not going to get into it.
Mm.
But if you want to get into it,
Yes.
you can come over here.
Yes. I like
So
that, the
that's
optional.
what I say, right? So like
Yeah.
you can yeah, to boil it down, you can either A, watch Roots before you start GU, or you can watch Roots as you're playing GU.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's my energy.
I guess, like, the best balance between both worlds is
Yeah.
if you were to really try to finite your experience,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could go as far as using this type of a list as a guide point, but
Yeah.
then also open another tab and be like, "Okay, what was the air date of said episodes? When was the release date of said game?" And then kinda go
Yeah.
about it in that way, because then you're really getting, like, that one-to-one, like,
Yeah.
chronological experience, at least, or not chronological, but a release order,
Yeah. And
yeah.
sometimes I just to sidetrack on the release order thing. I have a friend of mine. He and I have had many a debate when it comes to the Yakuza franchise and the do you play it by the timeline or do you play it by release order? And that's always my favorite debate now when it comes to video games and timelines is like, well, technically you want to play it by release order because the way the games are built, they kind of allude to stuff, and then
Yeah.
but yeah, I get into a lot of debates about Yakuza 0 and when you should play Yakuza 0. Uh, but yes, so you have dot hack GU, you have dot hack roots. Those are the main games and accompanying anime that go with it.
Okay.
And then uh, you have dot hack GU last recode, which is the remaster, and that's probably going to be the thing that most everybody will have access to. It's
Yeah.
available on PlayStation, on Switch, on Steam, so you can get it in a lot of places. And that was a very cool thing because that was announced as like, hey, we're gonna remaster this game. It's something that a lot of people really loved, and then they also announced in it that they're gonna release a fourth volume of the game. So like never before seen content for the Dot Hack GU story, and um, the the fourth volume basically is kind of like it's a victory lap. It's a little epilogue
Mm,
story that just kind of end caps all the other last minute details of the game, and it also kind of dives a little bit into the background of one of the specific characters who's introduced in Dot Hack GU named Zelkova. And they are essentially a guild leader for one of the two largest guilds in the game, in the world, called Moontree. And they're a very mysterious, interesting person. They eventually join your party. They're a cool person. But there's a lot of mystery around that character. So, Volume 4, as I felt it, was one of those things where, like, hey, we're going to end cap some stuff for Haseo's story, but we're also going to talk a little bit about Zelkova and some of the stuff going on around that character.
okay.
So,
Oh, so here's a side question. So for those that have been
sure.
following along so far, I don't know if you mentioned this already. You might have, but it was like really quick, so I might have like missed it or something. But
Yeah.
these are the games themselves. Are these like action RPGs? Are they like RPGs? Like what's the combat style? Like what are we doing here?
Oh boy. Yes. I was waiting. I was like, I got to find a way to talk about the way the gameplay is.
Yeah.
So, I would probably say, like, my instinctive statement would be to say that they're kind of like character action RPGs.
Okay.
Um, so the first four games, so IMOQ,
Mm,
those games were basically like you have your avatar character, you run around, you buy items, you buy equipment, and then you go out to a field. And the way that the game works is that because it's an MMO, you're simulating that experience inside of a video game,
right.
never actively being online. So the way Dot Hack does it is that there's a warp gate that you go to, and you use keywords to generate a field that you go out to. So um, there are three phrases that you plug in, and you're given like three lists of words, and you can unlock keywords and get them from message boards or other things. And essentially, you're plugging in words where you could be like, okay, artisanal backfield evergreen, and that'll generate a zone, and that controls the element of the zone, the dungeons, the items, the
What?
monsters.
Oh my god, okay.
So you're basically kit bashing. You're cooking together a stage that you then teleport to. And then in the original games, you have your party of three, you run around the map. There are roaming monsters. There are little like portal gates where like if you approach it, a monster will spawn, and then you engage those monsters, and you're basically just running up to them, and you're just slapping attack buttons and doing attacks. Excuse me.
You good?
Then, when it comes to skills and spells and other things like that, you have to open a menu which pauses time, and then you go through your menu and go, okay, I want to use a skill. I'm going to go to my skill tree. I'm going to grab a skill. I'm going to use it, and then you do the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do this for yourself, and then you can do it for your party members, and then you can also kind of set like party members to kind of have like prefabbed like AI behaviors. So you can kind of be like, hey, I want my party to focus on skills. I want this character to focus on healing. I want this person to do like dump your meter, dump all meter at all times when you have it. So there are some little things that you can control for the combat that let you navigate the gameplay in your own unique way, and then you have very manual control of like, okay, that person used this skill, that person used this spell, and that's the combat cycle. Is you go out in the field, you find a monster, you wail on it, you mash buttons, very MMO style. And like the only thing that isn't reflective of like standard MMOs is the fact that like you're opening up a menu, and when you do so, it stops time. You're
Yeah.
cycling through a menu. You have that ability to breathe, but you're also navigating menus.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So you've got that part of the game, which is overworld, and then there are dungeons. And when you go into a dungeon, they're also procedurally generated, and they could have X amount of floors. There are monsters, there are items, there are traps. So you're navigating a dungeon. You're doing the fog of war style map. So you're like navigating through and generating a map as you travel, and then you're fighting monsters. You're getting items, and at the very end of any dungeon is usually like a large encounter, and then a like dedicated. Here's the final treasure chest. You found it. You got it. Congratulations. Hit a warp gate, go home.
Nice. Okay.
So that's the game cycle of dot hack overall. And then they'll sprinkle in obviously quests. They'll like, hey, we heard there's like a mysterious monster going on over here that's misbehaving. You should go check it out. And then they can easily start sprinkling in story beats or like anomalies and other things like that. Or like, oh, there's a character at the bottom of hidden archfiend Duke Emerald. Go down to that zone and find that guy. So that's the game cycle of dot hack, is going through these fields, discovering, fighting. And I would say there's a lot of people who find the gameplay cycle of the first four games a little repetitive, because it's you're walking up to an enemy and you're mashing X and you're just swinging your knife, you're just stabbing a dude until it dies. You pop a special, you pop a skill, and you go through that cycle a lot. So the thing I think that helps keep that fresh is that you have a massive cast of characters that you get to partner with. So you've got all these different people. So like because it's an MMO, there are different classes. So in the original games, you have Twin Blades, Blade Master, Heavy Blade, Heavy Axe. There's healers, there's mages, there's lancers. So you have this kind of like mix up of characters. So you can be like, hey, I want people who are fast. I want people who are hard damage and slow. I want
Mm.
some people who are good at spell casting. I want my healers on deck. So you can kind of approach all these zones
Yeah.
in different ways, and you can keep the combat system a little fresh. And that's how dot hack the first four games go. Dot hack GU changes the game.
Mm.
And again, big part of why I love dot hack GU is because it's the same franchise, it's the same story, but they remixed a bunch of stuff that I thought was super cool. So dot hack GU comes along, and a big part of that game's in-world story is that in between the events of the two games, a fire breaks out at CC Corp and damages a bunch of the servers. So the world had to go offline for a period of time. And then CC Corp brings it back as an updated version called the World R2. And the first game, as you've seen in Dot Hack Sign, it's a lot of like kind of like older fantasy. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
natural elements going on to things. There's a lot of old Gothic architecture, and it has that kind of like older world energy. Dot Hack GU introduces the world R2, and it's basically the industrial revolution of that universe. So now steam is a huge element. Lots of things are steam powered, and you've got a lot of mechanical innovation. So a lot of the classes get rebuilt, new classes get introduced, and new mechanics are brought in. So now we've got, Twin Blade is back. There's Blade Master has returned. The heavy axe and lancer classes basically get merged into a new class called partisan. There's tribal grapplers. So if you like boxers, there are boxer characters now.
Oh,
So you got
okay.
people who are all about the
The
fists.
hands.
Um,
Okay.
the mage class. So there used to be they split the mage archetype between two classes. So you have like your healers and then the magic offense casters, which are called wave masters. So that class came back, but now they kind of sit. So those two back. Then there's a new class called Dance Macabre. And Dance Macabre class is basically people who use fans and they do offensive and defensive magic. And
Okay.
they're like buffs and debuffs are their big thing, and they kind of sit in the middle of those two. And then the newest class is the multi class, the multi weapon, and that is Haseo's class. And basically, the multi weapon is kind of jack of all trades, master of none. And the way it works is that they're able to pick from the existing list of classes a number of them up to a certain point value. So the way that the game did it in world is that like each class was given a point system, like
Yeah.
a ratio, and then I believe it was you get 4 points to spend on the class list, and each one had its threshold. So it'd be like, okay, um, I think it was like Twin Blade and Partisan, or yeah, so Twin Blade is like a 1 point class. Partisan was like a 2 point class. Um, I'm trying to remember who was in the 3 point, but basically it breaks it down in that. So Haseo picks these three classes, and he takes Twin Blade, Heavy Blade, and a new class called Flick Reaper, which was basically scythe wielders.
Ooh, okay. All right.
It's pretty sick. Um, so you have all these new classes that come around, and then the way that they introduce them now is that not only are there these new classes, but the way combat has changed is that you still have like press X to attack, but now depending on the weapon you have, some weapons have rapid attacks and some weapons have charge attacks. So
Mm.
now you get to mix up your offense to be like, okay, I want to just be like 3 hit combo, bing, 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 bing. Or you have like, all right, I'm gonna charge, swing. So you have
Mm.
new ways to take existing weaponry and existing classes that you know and new ones, but engage combat in manners that you enjoy or you like. And then on top of that, the skills and spell system still exists. You can open up menus, you can go grab the specific skill you want or the specific spell you want. But now they add hotkeys. So in .hack I believe it's you can press R1 and it'll like freeze the menu for a quick second while you're holding the button, and you can map to any of the four face buttons a skill or a spell. So you can be like, all right, I'm gonna do my combo, hit R1 real quick, press X, do a skill.
Oh, so like quick
And
action.
quick action. Yeah, perfect. That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah,
So
okay. I
that
like that.
flow of combat is far more consistent and it's much smoother. And you kind of sit in the action a lot more than like the old games did. Because the old games, again, are like hack, 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 pause,
Uh-huh. Gotcha. This
pick a
is
skill.
more like real
And
time. Yeah,
this
I
is a
like that.
lot more real time. So you're not sitting. And then the other system that they add to this game is the Rengeki system. And basically, um, you if you do enough attacks on an enemy or an opponent, you'll activate what's called a Rengeki, and it puts the enemy in a state where if you open up your quick actions and you select a skill, you'll do a buffed version of that skill.
Oh, so
and you'll like
oh,
target that enemy, dive right at him, and do a buffed version of the attack.
interesting. Yeah, so it sounds like they really implemented a lot. I mean, good for them. It's kind of like what you have to do when you
Oh,
make newer games.
they implemented so much. So another thing that they added in GU is because this game massive upgrade. Um, so obviously it's an MMO, right?
Hmm.
And like a lot of what Dot Hack introduces in its first four games is kind of PvE. It's you versus the zone. It's an MMO. PvP exists, but you're not really doing a lot of PvP in the first four games. In GU, they introduce an entire server that is dedicated to PvP.
Wow.
And you're not fighting real people, it is all NPCs and whatever, but they're simulating that PvP experience. So
Mm,
there is a dedicated arena that you go to that has arena champs and like unique NPCs, and you actually get to climb a PvP arena on your own time.
that's pretty dope.
And that has its own system, right? So you take this combat system that's now evolved, and now you have a zone where it's like, okay, my team of three versus an enemy team of three, and we got to duke it out. And that becomes its own game where you've got people doing their own attacks, their own Rengeki systems, their own fight, and then there's even counter Rengekis. So now you've got like, hey, I'm gonna pop a skill. The opponent, if you pop a skill, and you're like, normally skills have like a little like buff time before
Ah,
they cast.
yeah, yeah.
So if you pop a skill outside of your quick pool, your opponents can go, oh, he popping skill, I counter Rengeki. And now I interrupt it and I do a bunch of damage to you.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So this game adds all these extra elements to combat that flow super well and super smooth. And like I remember playing volume 3 and being at that point where I was like, I'm in the flow state, bro. I'm gonna grab these guys, I'm gonna grab that guy. I've got my offense covered, I got my healing. Let's get in there. And I was doing arena runs like crazy just for the fun of it. Like it's such a
Wow.
good system.
So, all right. So another question that I should ask,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
especially when you consider like how often these games came out, especially with the first four. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly off the top of my head like the time gap between like the GU volume games, but like
Yeah.
how long do you do you say it would take someone like to like complete through the game? Like, how many hours is
Ooh,
that?
that's a good question. That's a good question. So,
From what you remember at least, because I
yeah.
could always look at there's a website for this. How long does
Oh,
it take?
of course, exactly. I was gonna say, like, you
It
could always just look it up.
yeah.
I would say off the top of my head, I I think that I beat Dot Hack GU Volume 1. I think my playtime on that from, like, start game to hit credits and not, like, 100%ing, just, like, 1 to credits with side quests along the way, I wanna say I clocked that at around, like, 26, 27 hours. I'm trying to remember.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so check this out. So, this is from howlongtobeat.com, okay? Dot
Yep.
Hack GU Volume 1 Rebirth. So, it looks like the average is, 23 and a half hours. But
Yeah, yeah,
but the main story, they say you could technically do it in 18 and a half. But then when you do
yeah,
main plus the side stuff, it's like a full 24 hours. But then if you're a completionist, 36 and a half. So you're getting
yeah.
like a really like if I'm not, I'm not saying
Sure.
anything right now, but if you wanted to really crack out on some dot hack, you could technically
Yeah,
do like a subathon and do like an entire game in like one long 24-hour stream, you know.
absolutely.
That's pretty fun. That's
Yeah,
dope. That's cool. Okay.
yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah, Dot Hack GU does a lot of really cool things. Again, it's my favorite for a reason, and I think that like the other thing that makes it so good is that you're watching this evolution of skill. And obviously, like video games, they've got cutscenes, there's in-engine cutscenes, there's like full CG cinematics and stuff like that. The first four games are solid, they're not bad, but they're a product of their time. Came out in 2002. It wears itself pretty well. And it still looks great. It's still a good game. Looks awesome. It's a lot of fun. You go to .hack GU, which came out 5 years later, and you're watching full on CG anime cutscenes, and you're seeing a whole new breed of animation playing out, not only in engine but even on top, just with like cutscenes and other things like that. And there's like the high quality in engine cutscenes, and then there's the fully rendered. All right, we took time. We rendered this out. This is an FMV playing, and those things just blow me away every time, even still to this day.
Mm.
So
I,
it's something special.
I will also add that as someone that's still very new to this, and I'm absorbing as much as I can. Like if you're if and when you are going to undertake this journey, this whole dot hack adventure, and if you're someone that didn't necessarily grow up during this time period in the early 2000s watching stuff with Toonami, I will say that the anime may seem slow at the
Oh yeah.
beginning, okay? Because this is not a negative from coming from someone like myself because I grew up during this time period, okay? Like this time period was a time period where stories were made to last a certain amount of time. Therefore, they had like their general idea of okay, we don't have to necessarily rush this. We're gonna, let itself tell the story at the pace that we essentially wanted it to. And nowadays, people are y'all are spoiled. I'll just put it that way. You guys
Yeah.
are very spoiled, okay? It's like
Too real.
yeah, to be honest, like, and this is unfortunate, but it's just like nowadays, especially with anime, it's like if the first episode doesn't hit, people are just like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm checked out. Like, which is a shame.
Yeah.
It's a real shame. So, but
It's
yeah, I watched the
it's
first
like
five.
that same yeah, it's that same energy of like light novels and stuff where like, oh yeah, the title is gigantic because if it's not, you can't capture someone's attention long enough.
Yeah, no, that to
Yeah,
me
you
is
know.
insane. But yeah,
You gotta
I
you
would point
gotta
that
give
out.
yeah, you gotta give everything. I usually use the 3 episode metric, and then depending on what it is, sometimes I go 5.
Yeah.
If depending on the show. Kill la Kill, one of my favorite animes, that's a 5 episode. It's a 5 episode guy. If you're not grabbed by 3, give it 5.
Yeah, that is fair. So that is something to consider. But again, it's like at the end of the day, there's like we've so far we've talked about 7 of these games. 4 from the
Yeah,
first part, 3 from the next, and then there's like a few more after GU, right?
yeah. There are. So there are 2 games that come out after GU. So um, the first one, I believe, is Dot Hack Versus.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and Dot Hack Versus is a very unique game because actually I'm gonna double check. Hold on, I might have my time frames wrong. I just want to look. I'm gonna double check real quick.
So
So let's see.
I'm
Dot Hack
seeing verses right
Versus
here from it looks like it came out
just
June
dropped
28th of 2012.
2012, and the Dot Hack Link dropped
Link was before
2010.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so Dot Hack Link was first. Okay, so we'll start there. We'll do these in release.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So Dot Hack Link is a PSP game, and that game is kind of like the third phase of Dot Hack stuff going on. So the world still exists. There's a new version of the world out, and basically, this kid Tokyo meets this girl in school, and she's kind of like, it's like, oh, the new girl. She's kind of weird, but I'm kind of vibing. Okay, I'm gonna go chat with this
It's
person,
one of
and then
those.
one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden Tokyo is sucked into the world.
Mm.
He is in the video game, and he's like, what's going on? And basically the game goes, hey, there are these records that basically like chronologically act as a backup server for all the events that ever transpired in the world, and someone is trying to get into that data and mess with it or do something. and we got to stop it. So you're basically doing this relay of going through the entire dot hack timeline and experiencing everything that has happened in dot hack up to this point. And you're meeting characters from the main games, you're meeting characters from the light novels, you're meeting characters from the mangas, dramas. Like this game is the celebration of dot hack content.
Wow.
Like in game, there is a literal timeline in the game. Like actually, the way you navigate, yeah. Now that I'm remembering it, the way you navigate this game is you access a menu that is the dot hack timeline. Like
Mhm.
it's literally like dot hack infection through quarantine, dot hack GU, dot hack link, etc. And you're going across a physical timeline and selecting points on the timeline to jump into stages.
Wow.
So you're exploring the franchise and you're experiencing all of this stuff and you're teaming up with like basically shadows of these characters, and you're partnering with everyone across the line. There's relationship links that they introduce to this game, and then they add this really fun extra mechanic. So in Dot Hack GU, um, a big part of Haseo's story is because he's a multi-class, he has a system that's tied with it called job extension. And essentially, when he hits certain thresholds, he's able to job extend and unlock the extra classes that are built into his kit.
Okay.
So at the start, he's just a twin blade. But when he hits his first job extension, he becomes a twin blade heavy blade. And he gets to unlock a second weapon. And through the games, they introduce uh, a lot of forms. So there's a dedicated form that's introduced in GU that then gets introduced in Dot Hack Link for everyone.
Wow. Okay.
So a real cool element from Dot Hack Link was, oh, here's all the classics. Here's all of Dot Hack characters' greatest hits, right? What if we let them mega evolve?
Mm.
What if all of the cast members got to have upgraded bonus forms?
Oh, okay. Damn, this is just a
So
PSP game.
it's just a PSP game. And like it's a very similar type of system. You're running through dungeons, you're hacking and slashing, you've got your skills, you've got your quick skills. And it does a couple other fun little added bonuses where you're doing like combos where you're like basically playing volleyball with your teammates and you're bouncing enemies back and forth to try to fill a bar and do like unison attacks and link attacks. But it's its own unique story that's just like, hey, there's more going on in this video game that people don't realize, and we have to uncover the truth. What's going on? What's happening?
Okay.
So that's a dot hack link, and then dot hack versus is the fighting game that we expected to eventually happen after CyberConnect 2 became famous for all of the Ultimate Ninja Storm games.
Yes.
So Dot
Yes.
Hack versus is an arena fighter that is using Dot Hack characters, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty fun fighter. It's got a very similar system of combat. You've got skills and spells. You've got meter. You've got super attacks and all that stuff. I played it for a little bit. It even had online. You could go online and play people.
Wow.
Um, and the only thing that I remember from that game is that Tokyo is in it, and he's busted as hell.
Mm.
Uh, One of the best characters in that game, easily by and large. But that was a fun thing, and it was paired with a movie that was Dot Hack Seikai no Mukoni or Dot Hack Beyond the World. And that I think is a fantastic movie. If you can find a way to watch it somewhere on a service or get your hands on the DVD Blu-ray, 10 out of 10 recommend. Super good.
Yeah, I'm seeing right here. I don't know if it's the same thing. It says Sora Beyond the World, but it looks like it's a
Yeah.
manga. Let me see.
Uh,
Yeah, so based off of the Fallon's list that we
yeah.
yeah, he has it listed as
Ah, yes.
it's canon and it's a manga.
So there's both, right? So
Okay.
there's a manga adaptation of it, but then there's the movie itself. So there is an actual movie that
Oh,
you can
okay.
watch.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's
I missed it. I see it. It does come before. That's on me. That's on me. That's my bad.
yeah, yeah. So you have Beyond the World, which is the movie, and then Beyond the World Sora and that's the
Mhm.
manga adaptation.
Okay, cool,
But the
cool, cool.
movie is a fun story, and it's basically it's just kind of like I'm trying to find the best way to describe it. Um, the movie is basically kind of like a reintroduction of like character avatars in the world, where it's like, hey, here's this person who is kind of being coaxed by her friends to join the game. One of the friends, two of the friends in this group of three, have the avatars of Balmung and Orca, the descendants of Fiona
Oh,
from the original games.
nice. That's
Um,
sick.
Dot Hack Dot Hack in World has basically immortalized these characters.
Yeah.
So part of the lore is that the entire cast are known as the Dot Hackers. They're the people who teamed up and uh, discovered the secrets of the world and solved everything. So they kind of get immortalized after the events of the first game
Yeah,
or the first part of
that
the
makes
first
sense.
quadrilogy. Um, and their avatars is specifically for Kite, Balmung, and Orca. Those three characters kind of get immortalized in universe by becoming like bonus avatars that other people can pick up. One of the Dot Hack mangas is built on the pretense that this young girl wins a raffle contest where her and her brother are given avatars of Kite and Black Rose, the two like original Dot Hackers,
Wow.
and they get sucked into the world's drama because they have been given these avatars based on these original characters.
That's sick. That is really
So
cool.
like there's a it's like, hey man, congratulations, you've been given the mantle. Welcome aboard to all of this trouble and trouble. Have fun.
Yeah, have fun, right? Good luck.
So it's so the movie does something very similar to that, where it's like, hey, here are these characters. They are wearing the avatars of these very iconic people that are part of the franchise, and then dot hack shenanigans ensue as they do, and these characters get pulled into that same drama through the mantle of the characters that they are wearing. Um, and it's a good self-contained movie. It's kind of fun. I really enjoyed it. And it basically is just telling its own unique story of just like, hey, some stuff's going on, and here is, I think the best part of that movie is that it very much leans towards how do we as a world team up to fight something bigger than us.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a really cool element of it that I really enjoyed. And
Mhm.
like um, every once in a blue moon, I go back and I'll see clips of something, and it gets that tingle in my brain. There's like those shots that you see it and you're just like, ooh, yes, yes, this is good, this is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is
So
fire.
that movie gets me every once in a while, um, and that's a good piece of media. And then yeah, there's after those games, it goes a little dry for a while, and it's manga and anime from there.
Yeah, I'm looking I'm seeing that now also with the novels as well. Um,
Oh boy,
the
novels.
there's a
Oh,
lot of
novels go
novels.
everywhere.
There's a lot of
So
novels.
when I said we're all here for the meat and potatoes, and then I'll show you where the toppings are. I'll show you all the fixins. You can get your
Yeah,
sides.
yeah, yeah.
Pick and choose your sides later. That's when we touch, in my opinion, that's when we start looking at novels. You look at the light novels. You look at some of the manga. So, um, a great novel. If you want to read a good light novel, uh, I think it's Dot Hack Another Rebirth. I always get it wrong if it's birth or rebirth. Uh,
Is this a recent one or is this like
am I
from
saying it wrong? I might be saying it
another
wrong.
no, 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 I see it.
Okay,
Another Rebirth.
it's Another
There's
Birth.
4
Okay, it's
volumes of
birth,
it. It
not rebirth.
started in 2004.
Yes. So, Dot Hack Another Birth is a light novel that tells the story of the first four games from the perspective of Black Rose.
Oh, okay, so we even have perspective stories. That's pretty dope.
We have perspective storytelling.
Yeah.
So that one is really cool. You've got Dot Hack AI Buster, which is a story about that takes place before the games and before Dot Hack Sign, where they basically talk about an adventure of a system administrator who encounters um, an AI and is dealing with the events that come from it. There's Dot Hack Cell, which I believe is a
Yep.
GU era game,
Yep, it
or
is.
GU era light novel
Yep.
that talks about somebody who's a big arena person. there's all sorts of stuff. There's so much content out there. There's also manga. So you've got Legend of the Twilight Bracelet, which was like the primary uh, gap manga that existed between the first four games and the second
Yep.
set of games.
Yep. My man is
And
on it.
that
I'm
one's very
looking at the list and he's saying it. That's fire.
yeah
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight Bracelet's pretty lighthearted. It's a lot of fun. It's a cute thing that does have its own uh, canon lore explanations that lead from one game into the next. Um, there's an anime for Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight Bracelet that
Yep.
I don't recommend.
Yeah. Right
um,
here it says it's not canon, so avoid it.
it's I'm gonna be so upfront. It's not canon. It's not great, and it has some themes that are not morally great. So
Ooh.
I would dodge it.
Okay.
It's a weird one.
Fair.
It's a weird one. Again, it's a series about siblings playing a video game together, and it just
I don't even like where this is going.
some moments get a little uncomfortable, and it's just like we don't need to do this.
Oh my god. Okay. Yep.
I would call it the black sheep of the franchise. The Legend of Twilight anime.
Yeah,
We
nah,
can we can do with whatever.
we'll just nix that one right then and there.
I'm gonna pull this up on Google right now. The Legend of Twilight manga introduces one of my favorite characters in the franchise.
Mhm.
I gotta get the manga drawing because it's the goat. Um, yeah, I'm gonna use. Thank you, Google, for providing this. They introduce Alka, the career werewolf. One of my favorite characters, top tier waifu, 10 out of 10.
So I'm looking at this like I'm as you're bringing up all these different novels and mangas and whatnot. So I'm noticing like
Yeah,
there were like for example, so Legend of the Twilight, the first volume. This came out July 7th of 2002. Okay, so
yeah,
to give you guys an idea, this is this is after when Sign is done. So the original anime. This is when Sign is
yeah,
done and also after when Infection comes out.
yeah,
Which is yeah. Okay. So okay. So this manga is
yeah,
what comes out a few months prior to Mutation. So like
yeah,
they really have you going like here and here and here and here, like
yeah.
get your consumption going
There's
on. That's
supplemental
fire.
media everywhere. And then, like, not only is it releasing around itself, but also their timelines are separate, right? So, like, the first four games are all part of one time frame, and even though the manga are coming out around the same time, Legend of the Twilight Bracelet takes place completely after the games resolve themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really cool. I do like how a franchise does things like this because to me, like I get the impression that from their perspective, it's like, well, we have so much to offer, but we
Yeah,
might not have the required resources or the time to fit it all into whatever it is that we're trying to deliver that's kind of like a bigger project. So why don't we like delegate some of what we want to share so that people can really get a lot out of this in, in doses on the manga front, on the anime front, on and
yeah,
we didn't even get to mobile games yet.
man,
So yeah, there's a lot here, um,
there is.
to really
There's so
go
much.
to digest and to kind of get lost in. But okay, so is there are there any other I guess bullet points that you wanted to share with the folks?
Oh man, trying to think about that. I think that probably I think for the most part I'm pretty much covered. I think I've hit all the big stuff.
Yeah.
Um I'll say it. I said it a bunch and I'll say it again. I'll always say it. Easily in my opinion, Dot Hack GU is my favorite part of the franchise as far as stories go.
Okay.
Um And I think that a huge part of that, and I'm sure people will probably have figured out by now, and I'm sure you've noticed by now. I'm trying very hard to not like spoil anything. I don't
Oh
want to
no,
take
I
away
appreciate that
fun.
100%. You've done a great job. That was amazing. You've
I try
reviewed
to
it very good.
I try to stop myself to be like, how do I want to say this without ruining it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, One of my favorite things about Dot Hack GU is that as Dot Hack is a franchise that it sits almost entirely on the same timeline, and it's telling this massive story over so much stuff. Dot Hack GU is like the ground zero of so much stuff coming together and culminating into this big like finale point. And I feel that everything after GU is kind of like, here's now what we deal with after that has been resolved. Here's like not exactly Fallout, but it's like cool. This was the main party. This was the big buildup. You've got infection through quarantine, which is all right. The game is afoot. We have begun. And GU is okay. Everybody, the gang's all here. Everyone is assembled. We're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about all of it. That guy is here. That person's back. This person was there the whole time. There's there's so much of that that takes place in GU, which I think is such a reward for people who are a big fan of something. Um, like you play this game and it's like, hey, meet all these people. And then somewhere down the road, someone goes, yeah, exactly. That's what this was the whole time. And I'm like, oh,
Oh, that's
I love
fun.
it. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, um, GU does so much of that. And then there's also, I remember the other bullet point. I was like, well, there is something else I want to talk about that I think is amazing. If for whatever reason, anybody who's like, I want to enjoy Dot Hack, but I don't want to play through all these games. Uh, Dot Hack Infection Through Quarantine, IMOQ doesn't have a contemporary of media, I feel, that summarizes everything really well in a short way, in a condensed way. There's some manga that you can read that's kind of like not fully linear, but it basically covers everything. You've got the light novels of Another Birth, but Dot Hack GU has a movie called
Oh.
Dot Hack GU Trilogy. And Dot Hack GU Trilogy basically covers the events of the entire game condensed into an hour and a half plus movie. And the thing that's so cool about, can I swear?
Oh
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
yeah. No,
ask,
you're
but
good. Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
the thing that is so fucking cool. gotta
yeah.
gotta hit that. It's so fucking cool. So the thing that makes it so cool is that the game or the movie was announced at Tokyo Game Show, and the selling point was, hey guys, it's Dot Hack GU. Check out all the cinematics. Check out all this graphics. This isn't a video game. It's a movie, and it's just in house, all in house at CyberConnect 2. They produced a movie.
Wow. Damn, CyberConnect 2. Okay. That is actually really cool. So yeah, they have it here. It
All
came
the
out in
stuff
2007.
all the stuff that you see in the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, in the Demon Slayer games, and the Jujutsu Kaisen, all that, so much of that stuff's blueprint comes from Dot Hack in terms of the animation style, in terms of the quality and the smoothness. So much of that stuff was learned in Dot Hack and refined in those games. And they're awesome. I played Not Ultimate Hero games like crazy. I fell off on Ninja Storm. Arena Fighters weren't my bag. But the Ultimate Ninja games, I
Yep.
was deep in those. I
Oh,
loved Ultimate Ninja. I'm a 2D
same
fighters
here.
guy.
Yeah, same
um,
here.
I loved Ultimate Ninja and like so much of that. So you get this movie that comes out and it's animated so well. It's beautiful and it covers the games in a great way and it does a little deviation and it
Okay.
introduces a couple new forms for some characters and stuff that's not canon, but it's still an amazing movie. It's so well done and I would recommend that to anybody to watch. I believe Crunchyroll has it. You can watch it on the roll.
Okay.
Um, and it's a great movie, 10 out of 10. And The other thing I would also shout out aggressively for Dot Hack is that their OSTs
Ooh, good soundtrack. Love me a good
chef's
soundtrack.
kiss.
Okay.
Dot Hack music hits different.
Mm.
It's so good. They work with like full orchestras. It's so impressive, and like I think that the music that they do really ties. Like, okay, you've been watching the first few episodes of Dot Hack Sign, so you already know about the OP obsession. You already know about the intro song.
Yeah, I heard. So yeah, I've been listening to the opening and like to be as fair as I can. Like I don't skip. So like I just let it rock. And
Respect.
yeah, like because like I wanna get my full experience, and to get that, like I
Yeah.
need to immerse myself and like because like it's not like I could go back in time and watch it as it was airing. Like I so
Yeah.
and I think about that whenever I watch something new, especially if it was like older. I'm like, okay, they didn't have the luxury of skipping intro or skipping this or whatever. It's like it's either you change the channel, or you turn off your TV, or you go do something else, right? Which is obviously what I'm not trying to do. Like
Yeah.
I'm
For a
trying,
minute,
yeah, So
right?
yeah,
For like 30 seconds, you can
yeah,
turn it off. Yeah.
yeah, right. I'm only 5 episodes in, so I'm still like I can't even consider myself a baby. I'm like a fetus in this right now. Like I still need a lot more time
For
to
sure.
cook. Um, so okay, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about the trilogy movie because um
Yeah.
because he has on his list that he considers it non-canon. So from what I'm gathering from what
Yeah.
you're saying is that
Yeah.
if you wanted a good little recap of the GU games, you could pretty
Yeah.
much watch this with the exception of there being certain events that don't line up with the main story, so that kind of makes it non-canon.
It would literally be there's two elements of that movie. So, um, to dive and just scratch it without spoiling it. We're
Mhm.
gonna do this very. We're gonna thread this needle,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah,
We're gonna thread
yeah,
this
okay.
needle. So, a part a part of Dot Hack GU's story and game cycle is that you're in this game. Crazy stuff is happening. There's this rogue anomaly character who's taken out people. His moniker is Tri Edge because every time he attacks somebody, he leaves this giant tri slash symbol where he's attacked a person. So his moniker online is Tri Edge, as dictated by forum members.
Mhm.
So, in the pursuit of trying to find Tri Edge, you come across these artificial intelligence data anomalies called IDA, and they're just AI anomalies. They're rogue AI that you have to fight. And sometimes they can infect things, and they can infect people, and they cause things to go haywire. Part of GU's game cycle is every once in a while you got to fight the IDAs themselves, or sometimes you have to fight players who've been infected by them.
Mhm.
And the game presents that in its own way. Dot Hack GU Trilogy presents one of those fights and one of those moments in a different way. And it's gut wrenchingly good. It's so good. It's
Mm.
really emotional. It's visually well represented. It's a phenomenal design. And then Haseo, his whole deal is that he joined this game, he joined a guild, he met this person that became a really dear person to him, and then Tri-Edge hit him and took him out. And now he's on this path of vengeance, and all he sees is red. And there's a point where Haseo hits his moment in the GU story where he's lost it and he's going crazy. And the movie treats that in its own unique way and gives him a moment in his own unique way that's non-canon.
Wow, okay. Alright, well,
So there are two elements of the story that I would not like. By calling it non-canon is a very simple, fast way to describe it.
yeah,
But if
yeah.
you want to clarify it, it's how would we take these moments that are part of the game, that are part of the story, and recontextualize them visually to make it special and unique? Because
Mhm.
it's a movie and you're selling it and you want people, even if they've played the game, to check this thing out.
Right.
So by recontextualizing it visually, it lets you experience this in a new way that I think is really cool. Um, and for one of those moments, it's here's an encounter that happens, and we're gonna sell it to you differently,
Yeah.
and we're gonna let you watch it in a different context that has a way more emotional impact. And then the other moment is gonna be an instance of, hey man, so this thing happened. What if we took it a whole level further and just played this event out at like we're just gonna take that event, we're just gonna turn its tension up 5 degrees.
So I'm glad I asked and brought that up to so that way
Yeah,
we gave more clarity because like that is actually really important to me at least because like
yeah,
if I see something and it says oh it's non-canon, I always ask okay why? Like is it the whole thing? Is it a part of it? And like if it's only like a part of it, especially if it doesn't like you know, go too crazy, it's like it almost takes away from the rest of it, you know? And I don't even feel like that's like fully fair. So like
yeah,
I'm glad that you said that so that way people watching this will know like, oh, okay, like
absolutely.
if you're referencing this really really nice looking list, like by all means, like this is a really good reference point. But
Easily.
definitely, especially for trilogy, definitely check that movie out if you're trying to
Yeah.
really see GU.
It's it's a really cool movie. It's so impressive. And I think again, the fact that they were just like, yeah, we're just doing it ourselves.
Yeah,
We're using our prowess. We made a movie in house. Enjoy it.
yeah, that's what's up.
It's so cool. Yeah. Cyberconnect 2 is easily one of my favorite game studios. They've put out banger after banger. They have the Fuga series as well. Solana Robo is also from these guys. They do a lot of cool things, and Dot Hack has been their flagship project. And yeah, they got a real tough guy at the helm. Hiroshi Matsuyama, that guy's crazy. He's wonderful. Um, yeah, it's a crazy game. Oh, also, just for the fun of it, I think
Mhm,
it's a cool Easter egg note. So, in all of the Dot Hack games, there is a character who represents uh, the president of the company in game.
mhm,
Hiroshi Matsuyama is the president of the company. Um, there's a character in the game named Pyros, and he is introduced in the first game. He's a heavy axe user, and his name is in Japanese it's Piroshi, and the main president Hiroshi, right? So you've got this character who represents him, and then he shows back up in GU
hmm,
as Pyros the Third, and it's 10 out of 10. One of my favorite characters, hands down. I will I will put him in my party any chance I can justify it.
nice.
10 out of 10 character. Love him to death. And he's a delight. Super cool. But yeah, that's Dot Hack. That's Dot Hack. As much as I can sell it, you've got some great games to play. The first four obviously are its own unique story. You got Dot Hack Sign to go with it. You've got Dot Hack Liminality. You've got Legend of the Twilight Bracelet that bridges your gap a little bit. You hit Dot Hack GU. If you use last read code, you'll automatically get access to the terminal disks. Read those terminal disks, get all that background data. You've got the 3 GU games plus the fourth epilogue game, and you can play through that. Um, uh, I also forgot the Dot Hack GU last recode also comes with I think it's called Omake. There's like how like sometimes in director's cuts for like movies, there's like silly little like blooper reels
Yes.
and stuff like that. So last recode has like 4 or 5 of those where it's like here's a cutscene from the game, but then the voice actors like redub it and just add levity and silliness to it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's got 4 coma. It's got a lot of 4 coma energy.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, those are fun. So yeah, so you've got Dot Hack GU last recode. Enjoy that. If you can get your hands on Dot Hack Link, never got released in the U.S., but you can find it out there. There's a translation project that exists that's pretty much done, so you can enjoy it in English. I braved that game in Japanese. I just brute forced it.
Uh,
Um,
I remember those days. They're very. Listen, man.
it's
It
a
takes
different
it.
time.
Yeah, it's like just trying to figure out. Like, okay, I at least know this is yes and this is no, but everything else,
Exactly.
oh
It's
man,
trial and error.
yeah. And so
It's all
wait,
trial and error.
so Link is what, a PSP game as well?
PSP. Yeah,
Okay, I see that now. Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
Dope. All right.
but yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to throw in there about Dot Hack?
Oh man. Um, I want to say that mostly covers it. Everything else after that, I think, is like art books are like I think a lot of the supplemental material and stuff that they put out is also crazy. Like one of the things that I've always found impressive that has kept Dot Hack alive is that a big part of its existence is that as an IP, it was owned by Bandai, which then became Bandai Namco. So Bandai Namco has control over how the IP is used in terms of projects.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know what the nature of their agreement is, but CyberConnect 2 basically every year puts out dot hack merchandise. I've bought lots. I have a bunch of stuff. I just bought a thing at the beginning of the year for their New Year celebration. I got stuff for the 15-year anniversary. Um, and they put out a lot of cool stuff. And I feel like that has helped keep dot hack as an IP alive in a lot of ways. But like some of the art books are phenomenal. There's the Dot Hack Archives, and it's like a series of art books that basically cover the original games. They cover the concept art and like realization of how the games came to be. They cover GU, and then there's art books from all the different like contributing artists and designers. There's there's so much. There's so much cool stuff that they sell and provide that I think is just like for a franchise that has no active product for the consumer to have that's a media, there's so much material. Like I have acrylic standees and charms and things that are being produced in the current year for dot hack, and there hasn't been a dot hack like manga, anime, or video game in years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that they're able to produce that stuff still and it sell and be worth grabbing is like you have to have staying power to do that.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. The archives
So
I'm seeing it came out in 2014.
yeah.
That is such a long time ago. So, all right, well, so yeah, I mean, to I guess to wrap it up, I guess I did want to read. I get to well wrap it up and connect it to you know
Sure.
obviously why we brought this whole conversation about is the recent revelation of a brand new dot hack game, a new project coming from CyberConnect to, and this is what I'm about to read is is straight tweet or post whatever right from
Sure.
Famitsu. Okay, so
Yeah.
new work, dot hack z.e.r.o. So fastest interview. The setting is 10 years after the present, with a stronger focus on the real world side compared to the previous work, deeply depicting raw human drama. So then the bullet points, they mentioned that it's a self-funded in-house development and self-publishing by CC2. Okay, and that is
Yeah.
humongous. So they got
Massive.
yeah, they got special permission from Bandai Namco, which you know what? Here, I know for a fact that I have that right here. I'll read that one too because I figured that was
It's
something worth mentioning in
it's
this video.
unprecedented. It's truly unprecedented that Bamco was just like, yeah, you guys can do it all. Go right ahead.
And
Let it ride.
and that honestly to me that is like probably one of the biggest signs of respect I've seen in a long time because it's a
Absolutely.
companies worldwide. At the end of the day, it's all about making money, and so it's like
let me
go ahead.
let me tell you. So, um, I follow Matsuyama-san across platforms. Again, love that guy. He's very interesting. I've been very fortunate to have met him a couple times in my life. He's a great guy. Um, and I love the way he talks about the industry and how he talks about the company and what they do. And basically, I'm pretty sure every year he does like, hey, we're gonna do, AMA, FAQ, whatever. And always someone's like, when is the next dot hack project? And he goes, brother, in the most professional way that I can tell you, please go ask Bandai Namco to let us cook. Please tell them that you want it because we know you want it and we want to do it. We want it so bad. We are not the IP holders. We can't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Go talk to Bandai. And he's been doing it for decades.
Yeah.
Like every year, people are like, when new dot hack? And he goes, done. Ask them. Talk to them. I got
Yeah.
nothing. I can't help you. You can buy our merch. You can buy our merch, and that's the best I can offer you. It's pretty wild.
I will. So I'll put it. I'll throw in my 2 cents to add to that before I even read this. But what I find the most interesting from this whole thing is every action that happens, especially in like the video game industry, everything. I shouldn't even just say video games, but everything that is done with intention, right? Like, so Bamco, obviously known for Tekken, but also known for a lot of their like, I don't know.
So much product.
Yeah, like they have a lot of like they're known for a lot of the anime games, right?
Yeah.
Whether they're single player or, you know, they've succumbed to this 3D arena fighter aspect, right? Not here to hate. That's another video in and of itself. But what I will say is that companies, they are all working on stuff right now, probably as we're speaking. And realistically, and probably no disrespect to Dot Hack, they probably had no intention of doing anything with it. And so what I feel like they did was they did the right thing, the nice thing. And they're like, well, if we're not gonna do anything with it, and because like, you know, Dot Hack is essentially y'all baby. Here's the kid. Like just have fun, you know? Like go on a vacation, do whatever you gotta do. And
Yeah.
I think the stars kind of aligned when you think about it, because this is the 30th anniversary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes perfect sense, right? So I just think that, you know, for Dot Hack fans alike, for the good folks behind, you know, the dev team at CyberConnect 2, like, you know, putting it all together, and even Bandai, you know, like it all worked out for the best, and it had a lot of people's good interest, and and you could tell there's a lot of good faith behind it, which is really nice. And you know, that's one of the things I'll say, aside from me just being familiar with it and just not, you know, diving into it yet, that kind of attracted me to giving this more time and checking out for myself now. To even the level where it's like we're doing this video, and then like, you know, I guess I'll spoil this now. Like I'm gonna play all of them, guys. Okay, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna take me a long time, but it's gonna happen, right? I'm very excited, and it's due to the fact that it's like it took 30 years, right? It took an anniversary, but then it took two companies that, you know, one had the rights, the other one necessarily didn't, and they came to an agreement. And I love stuff like that because you don't really see that happen a lot.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah. So all right. So I'll read this this message right here. So this
Yeah.
the rebirth of Dot Hack. So the Dot Hack series has always been developed by CyberConnect 2 and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. But for Dot Hack Z.e.r.o, Bandai Namco Entertainment has given CyberConnect 2 permission to manage the entirety of the project from planning and development to release. It will be a title that is fully self-published by CyberConnect 2. So world-renowned violinist Taro Hakase has penned the music, kickstarting the project to the I can't even read, the dexterous tune of his violin. Dot Hack Z.e.r.o will be a novel RPG experience that blends the series' trademark duality of fantasy game world and reality real world with modern expectations infused with 100% pure CyberConnect 2 spirit. The game will be enjoyable for both veteran fans and new players alike. So please look forward to this newest iteration of Dot Hack. And then back to the original post. This also mentions that it's completely unrelated to the novel Dot Hack Z.e.r.o that I'm seeing from this list.
Yes.
Came out on May 1st of 2003. 20
Yeah.
yo, old ass novel, has nothing to do with that. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that they made that distinction, especially when you look at how they are titling Dot Hack Zero, this new project. It's almost hyphenated. It's like, it's
Yeah.
z.e.r.o. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm gonna be this guy. We're gonna talk about that for a little minute.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
This
no,
is
no, no.
this is
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
crazy guy. So dot hack for the longest time, something that's been really important to the franchise is that dot. That dot means a lot of things in so many places. When dot hack GU was being announced, like the very first announcement at Tokyo Game Show, and it was demo footage and early beta designs and a bunch of stuff. Um, Part of the selling point is that the game was called dot hack G period U period. And in the trailer, there's a bunch of words that start flying around the screen that are just something that starts with a G and something that starts with a U. And they push this narrative that GU means something. And throughout all of the franchise, there's like Genesis Ouroboros, Gates of Unison. There's all these phrases that GU could mean. And there is an official one. I'm gonna share it because I think it's cool, and I think it's one of those things that like doesn't spoil anything, but it's
Yeah.
one of those things you put in your mind, and as you watch the game, you kind of go, I see it. Dot Hack GU's supposed, allegedly, for my own safety, allegedly official meaning is grow up.
Whoa. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So Dot Hack does this where they're like, hey, we're gonna put out a word like Dot Hack GU's, I believe, like really started that where it's like we're gonna put a thing and it's gonna have periods in it. It's gonna be an acronym. So Dot Hack Zero also being acronymed means that it also has its own it's probably gonna have a secondary meaning and it's probably gonna talk about more stuff. Um Another thing that's also worth being aware of, there's a lot of German inspirations that hide in dot hack lore.
Okay.
So if you see any German words, translate that shit, look at it, pay attention to it,
Yeah.
consume it a little. Because
Okay.
there's some stuff. There's some little things hiding in that trailer that I was like, I pulled up Google Translate glass and I was like, what's happening? Tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good tool that we could
So
use nowadays. Because,
It it being not related to Dot Hack Zero, the novel, is a massive deal.
yeah. Which is also, for those that might be wondering, watching this now, is a it is a canon novel. I am
Yep.
referencing that right now, and it is fan translated. Or
Yeah.
oh no, it says yeah, it says fan translated and then machine translation. So okay, so that's basically how it
I'm gonna
works.
be I'm gonna be this guy. I'm also gonna plant a little seed on you.
Okay.
This novel, if you incline, you don't have to. You don't have to read this thing. But this novel is relevant to characters that are in Dot Hack Sign, the games, and GU.
Oh God. Okay.
It's I truly mean it with my heart. You don't have to, but it revolves around somebody that is through lined in all of those medias.
I will keep that in
When I
mind.
say GU is the Avengers, when I say GU is the ground zeros, I mean it.
Oh man. Okay. So all right, one other last bit of I guess theory crafting speculation from my part, cuz
All right,
I'm
let's
inspired,
go.
right? So, when the
Yeah,
second you mentioned that you felt well, no, that that the dots are important with these acronyms in how
yeah,
this works. My brain immediately was like, okay, so I wonder if there's any connection to what's existed with this new project, being that it's called Dahag Zero and it's acronymed. So I looked
yeah.
through everything that has come out, and I'm like, okay, what starts with a Z? So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they could reference the original Zero novel, right? And then I'm like, okay, what starts with E? And I found, oh, there's the Epitaph of Twilight, which is not necessarily canon, or it's untranslated, excuse me. It's an untranslated novel that is canon, right? And then I'm like, okay, what about
Twilight's mad important.
Yeah, okay, so there you go, right? And then so I'm like, okay, what about R? And then R is literally like, where did it go? I literally just saw
It's
it.
all the G stuff.
Yeah, like there's roots right here. There's roots,
Roots.
right?
You've all the GU games. Every GU game starts with an R.
So like I'm
Rebirth, reminiscence, redemption, and reconnection.
yeah. So now the last one is just an O, which
Yeah.
from what I
Interesting
can
theory.
yeah, the outbreak. Boom. See? All right. We have a
Outbreak.
piece. We have a piece for it all. So I'm
That's an interesting theory. I like that theory. I want to see. There was a thing that I saw. I want to see if I can find it. There was something that I saw somewhere. It might have been on their website. I'm gonna mute this web page so it doesn't play a bunch of shit in my speakers. There was something I saw somewhere, and I'm trying to remember exactly. But I saw something that was um put in. Oh, now I remember what it is. Hold on. I'm gonna pull this thing up. I'm gonna do a little. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So if you, I'm gonna pull up my Google Jazz. So if you look at the trailer for .hack 0,
uh
at the end where it hits the credits, there is the like it's called Project Dusk, CyberConnect 2, executive producer, all that stuff. At the bottom of the page, or at the bottom of that image is a line that says, "This world is at dusk. It matches with us so well." And then there is what I believe is German underneath it, and it roughly translates to, using Google here:
uh-huh.
"Play bravely, wonderful beginning, painful silence, key black bear, universal old beast." And like that stuff doesn't mean nothing. They do that crap all the time. They put that kind of stuff out for everything. There is deep meaning. And like the epitaph of Twilight in franchise, in universe, was basically a poem written by like a German writer as a letter to his memories, if memory serves, to his wife. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But like it matters. That kind of stuff is not put in for no reason.
Okay. Yeah.
So
There you have
they
it,
cook.
guys.
They
Wow.
are they are doing work.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. I mean, there's a lot to consume, as you could tell. There's a nice comprehensive list to follow if you are trying to kind of go along with your own chronology adventure on how you would want to experience. Me personally, I'm a proponent of always doing the release order, just so that you can get that authentic real time emulated experience, since you obviously can't time travel and do it all over again. um but do it with this information what you will. But the most important thing, definitely have to shout out our boy Maguma that came on to give y'all not only just like this apple of knowledge, but he gave y'all the tree. Okay, the whole tree of knowledge. Okay, also
Climb whatever branches you wish to climb. That's the magic of dot
yeah,
hack.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, and also shout outs to Fallon's for the list as well. I'll have that in the description, so that you can again go and reference it yourself. And yeah, I guess look forward to. We don't have an official date for when the game is gonna come out. Um, we do just have that trailer, so I don't even want to go out on a limb and make a prediction on that, because it could be like next year for all we know.
It's I'll also say this for the sake of that. So highly recommend also, if you're interested at all in dot hack already, if you're getting grabbed now, read that Famitsu article. I think it's a great article to read. Matsuyama goes over a lot of cool stuff about the relationship with Bamco and making this happen. But it's also, I believe it's revealed in this article that the trailer that we saw is zero gameplay content. It's all just an animation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I will. Yeah. The thing that I guess I'll also throw out in as a prediction is that because they also mentioned where he said that where was it? He said that um modern expectations infused with 100%
Yeah,
pure CyberConnect 2 spirit. They're almost making this sound like they're gonna be anticipate like they're gonna be making a AAA game kind of experience for Dot
it
Hack.
has that energy.
Mm-hmm.
It has that energy. Another thing that he also mentioned in this is that they're like, it's the 30th anniversary, and we could have made something that was like its own unique thing, but we know that if we put out an RPG, everyone would just compare it to Dot Hack. There's no reason to not make a new Dot Hack game. But we're
Right.
also going to be like, this game will show you the fruits of our 30 years of labor. So it's all their animation tech, all their gameplay knowledge. Like, I expect this thing to cook. I expect this thing to hit. And like, let me tell you. So I mean, you watch that trailer when Kite, this new Kite, puts his hand out and that crazy ring of data starts showing up. The noise that it makes, that high pitched whirring noise, sent my brain back 20 years. Let me tell you,
That's fire.
my brain. He did that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in bedroom in high school playing the PS2, watching Data Drain for the first time in my life." That noise activated me.
That's fire.
This game is gonna cook. I'm ready. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And like if I didn't mention this already before, the new game, they're of course keeping new players in mind as well. So they're not even expecting people that weren't fans before to, go
Yeah,
into this with any knowledge now, which is kind of like how new games and developers have to go about making new projects nowadays. Because that's the whole
yeah,
idea of trying to sell something. You want new customers in addition to your returning ones as well. Um,
yeah.
but at the same time, what a lot of people do have is curiosity. So that is the whole purpose of this video is to feed your curiosity, give you a pathway to start your journey now if you're curious to picking up any of these games, whether it's off of the Steam or if you know how to use the internet and can find the PS2 games, physically or
Yeah,
digitally. I don't know. My hands are up on that one, guys. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to take in. So
there is.
let us know your thoughts. Leave your comments, any questions, concerns. I'll also leave Maguma's information in my description as well, so y'all can hit him up
Yeah.
for whatever. Check out what he's doing some cool things over there as well. And yeah, soon I will be starting my dot hack playthrough journey.
I'm excited. And by all means, my DMs are open. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions as you play. Please.
Yeah, like I will definitely be. This will be something that I'm gonna try to stream as well, so that way people can experience it with me in real time. Right now, full disclosure for those that are watching, I'm almost done with Final Fantasy VII, the original, not because I already beat Remake and Rebirth. I'm going through the original FF7. So once we're done with that, then we'll have a better idea as to when I'll start doing the dot hack PS2 games. But I already started the anime, so by the time that happens, I might have all of Sign watched already. So we'll see. We'll see.
Nice.
So all right, guys, take care of yourselves. Love what you love. Gang gang.